I thought it was going to be a normal Monday. I even smiled as I sipped my coffee, scrolling through emails, thinking about the week ahead. Then I saw the email from the board secretary. My fingers froze over the keyboard. The subject line read, "Urgent, executive board meeting, immediate action required." "Ria," I said, my voice tighter than I realized. "Did you see this?" Ria, my assistant for the last 5 years, leaned over my shoulder, her brow furrowed. "I just got it too, sir. It's unusual. The board never calls emergency meetings without reason." I scrolled down. The attachment contained a voting record. I blinked. "Read it again." Then my stomach dropped. Every single board member, everyone had voted to remove me from my position. And in my place, Aditya, the so-called everyone, whispered about, the one I barely knew, the one no one had even vetted properly. This can't be real," I muttered. "There has to be a mistake. Call them, now." Ria's hand hovered over the phone. "I've tried, sir. No one's picking up." "And the secretary. She said the votes were finalized yesterday." Yesterday, my chest tightened. How did they finalize this without me? "They claim it was standard protocol," she said softly, avoiding my gaze. "But sir, it looks deliberate." I slammed my fist on the desk. "Deliberate? They betrayed me. Every single one of them." My voice shook, but I tried to steady it. "I trusted them. I built this company with them. And they just handed it to some fake heir." Ria reached for my hand. "We can figure this out. You're not powerless." "Not yet." I pulled my hand away, pacing the office. "Not powerless." I laughed bitterly. "Ria, they've taken everything from me, my position, my control, my dignity. How am I supposed to fight this?" She placed a folder on my desk. "Evidence, meetings, emails, everything you'll need to make your case. Maybe not against the board publicly, but strategically. You have options." I stared at her, my mind racing. "Options? Do you know what it feels like to see people you trusted turn their backs, to see them cheer for someone who has no idea what this company means? They're scared of change," Ria said. "Maybe they saw Aditya as easier to control, but you're stronger. You've always been stronger." I sank into my chair, pressing my face into my hands. The betrayal stung sharper than I expected. Not just the professional loss, it was personal. People I considered friends had schemed behind my back, smiled in my face while plotting my downfall. The board meeting was scheduled in an hour. I forced myself up. "Fine, let's go. I need to hear it from them. Let them look me in the eye while they lie." Ria gave me a hesitant nod. "Sir, maybe don't go in unprepared. They'll try to manipulate you." "I don't care about their manipulation," I snapped. "I want the truth. Let's go." The boardroom smelled sterile, the tension thick enough to choke on. I walked in, and they all turned. Polite smiles plastered on their faces. Smiles that used to be warm, now cold and calculating. Good morning," the chairwoman said. "Please, have a seat." I ignored the chair, standing tall. "Cut the pleasantries. I've seen the votes. Every single one of you betrayed me." "Care to explain why?" A few chuckled nervously. One adjusted his tie. Another cleared her throat. Silence filled the room like a living thing, heavy and suffocating. It's for the good of the company," the chairwoman finally said, her voice precise. "Aditya brings a new perspective. We believe this transition is necessary." "Necessary," I repeated, my voice shaking with controlled fury. "You didn't even discuss this with me. Not once. You schemed behind my back while I trusted you." One board member began, but I cut him off. "You betrayed me. Every one of you. And for what? A fake heir you think you can control. Do you know what you've done?" The room went quiet again. I could feel my heartbeat in my ears, my palms slick with sweat. But amid the fury, a small spark ignited inside me. Determination. I wasn't going to crumble. Not now. Ria's whisper at my side broke through my thoughts. "Sir, whatever happens, don't let them see you break. They can't know you're shaken." I nodded slightly, swallowing my emotions. "You're right. They don't get that satisfaction." As I walked out of the boardroom, head held high, the betrayal still burned in my chest. I felt powerless, but only for a moment. That seed of determination, tiny yet persistent, began to grow. I would come back. I would take back what was mine. And when I did, they would regret every choice they made today. I didn't know how yet, but I would. I opened my laptop, hoping for some miracle, maybe an apology, some mistake corrected. Instead, I found headlines mocking me. CEO ousted. Board chooses the inexperienced Aditya. Read one. Corporate disaster. How the former CEO lost everything. Read another. I dropped into the chair. The chair cold against my skin. Ria. Why does this feel like the whole world is laughing at me? She sat across the desk, hands folded. It's the media, sir. They exaggerate. People love drama. I built this company, I shouted. Voice hoarse. I poured everything into it, and they just erased me like I never existed. Ria didn't flinch. I know. But anger won't fix this. You're not powerless, remember? You have options, your experience, your connections. You can come back. I buried my face in my hands. Options. My own family is asking why I'm in this mess. Friends are sending passive-aggressive messages, pretending to care. I'm alone, Ria. Completely alone. Alone. She leaned forward, voice soft but firm. You're not alone. You have me. And there's someone else. Remember Mr. Kapoor? I exhaled sharply. My mentor. Stern, unsentimental, but brilliant. He might just scold me instead of helping. Then you need that scolding, she said. Sometimes people need a wake-up call to see clearly. I rubbed my temples. My phone buzzed. A message from my cousin. Are you okay? Heard about the company. Maybe you should accept it. I threw the phone onto the table. Accept it. Accept betrayal. I can't even. My voice broke, and I couldn't finish. Ria placed a hand over mine. Sir, calm down. Let's go see Mr. Kapoor. If anyone can remind you of your worth, it's him. I nodded reluctantly. Fine. But I don't want pity. I don't want advice that feels like sympathy. I need the truth. We arrived at his office. The familiar smell of old books hit me, grounding me in a way I hadn't realized I needed. Mr. Kapoor looked up from his papers, eyebrows raised. You look like hell, he said bluntly. Thank you, I muttered sarcastically. He didn't smile. This isn't about looks. You've let the board humiliate you, and now you're on the verge of giving up. I won't let that happen. I don't know what to do, sir, I admitted. Everything I built, gone. And for what? Some fake Heir everyone seems to adore. Mr. Kapoor leaned back, steepling his fingers. Gone, nothing is gone. You've just been knocked down. Pain is inevitable, but it's also fuel. You can either lie there and let them laugh, or use it to rise higher than they ever imagined. I stared at him. Rise higher. How? They've taken everything. My company, my reputation, my dignity. Everything. He leaned forward, voice sharp. Do you have skills, connections, and intelligence? Yes. Do they have your determination? No. That's your advantage. You channeled the betrayal into action, not despair. The words stirred something inside me. Anger, yes, but also clarity. Later, at home, my mother asked carefully, Are you really okay? I didn't understand what happened. Why did they vote you out? I looked at her, voice low. Mom, they betrayed me. People I trusted, people who called themselves friends, they all turned their backs. She reached out, unsure. I thought, maybe you'd messed up somehow. I shook my head. No, this isn't my failure. It's theirs. They feared my control, my decisions, my vision. That's why they chose him. Aditya. My father cleared his throat. Son, maybe you should let it go. Move on. I almost laughed, bitter and hollow. Move on from betrayal, from humiliation. No, I can't. Not yet. Not until I fix this. Messages kept coming from former colleagues. We hope you take this gracefully. Good luck in your next venture. Maybe this is for the best. Each one felt like a punch to the gut. I stood, pacing my apartment. Ria's right. I'm not powerless. I've survived worse. I've built empires before. This is just another battle. She nodded beside me. Then fight, sir. But don't fight blindly. Be smart. Let them underestimate you. That's how you'll win. I closed my eyes, letting her words sink in. For the first time that day, I felt the seed of determination grow. Not rage, not despair, but focus. I will not be defeated, I whispered to myself. Not by them. Not by anyone. I've fallen. Yes, but I will rise. And when I do, they'll regret every choice they made today. Ria smiled faintly. That's the spirit. Now, rest tonight. Tomorrow, we plan. I sat on the edge of the couch, staring at the ceiling. Alone, maybe, isolated, definitely, but powerless, never again. I had been knocked down, humiliated, betrayed, and yes, heartbroken. But I also realized something crucial. Despair is temporary, action is permanent. And tomorrow I begin reclaiming everything they stole. I sat alone in my office long after everyone had left, the glow of my laptop the only light. My hands hovered over the keyboard, tense. Rio, I muttered to myself, they think I'm finished. They think they've won. I opened the stock report, scanning every number, every shareholder's move. Not yet, I whispered. Not if I play this right. Ria's message popped up on my screen. Sir, are you okay? You've been online all night. I typed back, sharp but controlled. I'm fine. Just working, I said aloud, leaning back. More like plotting. I smirked despite the tension. And plotting is fun. I started making phone calls. Hello, Anna, and yes, it's me. Listen carefully, can we discuss some private investments? Yes, discreet. I need to acquire shares quietly. A few calls. Later, I leaned back, satisfied. Step 1, I murmured. Control the foundation before the house collapses. Ria appeared in the doorway, arms crossed. Sir, are you sure about this? Quiet buyouts, secret moves. If anyone finds out, I know the risk, I interrupted, standing to face her. But if I hesitate, I've already lost. I need leverage, Ria. Every move counts. She hesitated, then nodded. Understood. But be careful, they're watching. I've already noticed cracks, I said, pacing. Aditya. He's naive. He smiles in photos, talks big in interviews, but he's weak where it counts. No real strategy. No loyalty from the board. They're still scared of me. Ria frowned. Do you really think they'll switch sides back to you? I smirked, tapping the table. They will. They already fear the consequences, but they don't know it yet. Fear is stronger than respect, Ria. And fear can be guided. I opened a financial tracker, eyes scanning. The board members, individually, they're corruptible. They want profit, status, recognition. I'll give them choices they can't. Resist, subtle, strategic, silent. My phone rang. I answered quickly. Hello, Priya. Yes, it's me. Can we meet, discreetly? Yes. I have a proposal you can't refuse. I ended the call and turned to Ria. Allies, Ria. I need people who will move without hesitation, without fear of the board's gossip. Investors who know me, old colleagues who trust me. They'll be my foundation. She nodded, scanning my documents. And Aditya, do you plan to confront him directly? Not yet, I said. My fingers drummed the desk. He's a distraction. He doesn't even realize I'm already 3 steps ahead. Let him enjoy the spotlight while I gather the tools to reclaim the throne. Ria's voice was cautious. You're calm, sir. Too calm. Are you sure this is you? The you before the betrayal. I smiled thinly. This is a new me, Ria. The one who learned betrayal isn't the end, it's fuel. I won't be reckless. I won't be emotional. I'll be precise, calculated, unstoppable. I opened the newsfeed to check Aditya's latest interviews. He grinned, talking about fresh ideas and innovative leadership. I laughed quietly, a bitter, low sound. Fresh ideas, naive ideas. The kind I can dismantle quietly, systematically. I pulled up a board member directory. Look at them individually, I muttered, scanning faces. All scared, all greedy, all manipulable. If I push in the right places, it's done. Ria leaned closer, whispering. And you'll take everything back. Yes, I said, firmly, voice low, but not like they expect, not openly, quietly, smartly, and on my terms. They'll never see it coming. I won't just reclaim my company, I'll control it. Every corner, every decision, every asset, and they'll have no choice but to watch. I stood and walked to the window, looking down at the city lights. They think this is the end of me, but this is only the beginning. I will take back what's mine, but I will do it my way, my terms, my rules. Ria's soft voice interrupted my thoughts. Sir, are you ready? I turned, meeting her eyes. I've never been more ready. I've been broken, humiliated, mocked, and I've survived all of it. This time, I'm not just surviving. I'm winning. She nodded, her faith unwavering. Then we begin. I let out a slow breath, savoring the moment. Anger was still there. Yes, pain too, but it had been transformed. Into focus, into strategy. The seed planted in the wake of betrayal had grown roots. I whispered to myself, almost ceremoniously, tomorrow, it starts, quietly, carefully, but it starts. And when it's done, no one will doubt me again. Not Aditya, not the board, not anyone. I returned to my desk, opening spreadsheets, making calls, sending discreet messages. The night was long, but for the first time in weeks, I felt alive. The plan was taking shape, and I was in control again. And deep inside, a promise echoed louder than fear or anger. I will take back what's mine, but on my terms. I held the folder in my hands, the one filled with confidential reports I'd quietly acquired over the last few weeks. My old office keys were next to it, cold metal that felt heavier than I remembered. I whispered to myself, time to remind them who's really in charge. Ria appeared at the door, watching me silently. Sir, are you sure you want to start this tonight? I looked up, a smirk tugging at my lips. Ria, if I wait too long, the board will recover. Hesitation is my enemy. She stepped inside, voice careful. Just don't lose yourself in this. Revenge can be intoxicating, but it can also consume you. I know, I said, flipping through the files. But I won't let it. I'll be precise, surgical. I dialed one of my allies, Anand. Release the report tomorrow morning, but quietly. Let them see the numbers before the market reacts. Subtle chaos, understood? Yes. Sir, completely discreet, he said. Good. And make sure it points out mismanagement, not just numbers. Let them panic, but subtly. I ended the call and turned to Ria. Watch this. The board thinks I'm out, done. But I've already planted seeds. Their panic will start with small leaks, whispers, nothing. Direct. They'll underestimate me, and that's their mistake. She frowned. Do you enjoy this? I hesitated. Thrill? Yes. Satisfaction? Maybe. But there's something darker, Ria. Morality tugs at me. Is it right to manipulate them like this? Right or wrong doesn't matter, she said firmly. What matters is that you take control. But don't let anger blind you. You're smarter than that. I nodded, taking a deep breath. You're right. I'll stay focused. Precision, not passion. The next morning, I watched from a distance as the chaos began. Board members shuffled nervously, whispering into phones, glaring at each other. Their faces were a mix of fear and greed. Realizing some numbers didn't add up, I couldn't help smiling. That's it. Let them sweat. Ria leaned beside me, arms folded. They're reacting exactly as you predicted. But sir, don't. Let them see you gloating. I'm not gloating, I said. I'm observing, learning. They underestimate me because they still think I'm powerless. Later, I called one of the board members directly. Good morning, Mr. Sharma. Did you see the report? He stammered. I did. I thought there was a mistake. Can we discuss this with the team? I chuckled softly. Of course. But perhaps discuss it quickly. Others might notice discrepancies before you do. Sir, you're very clever, he admitted, voice wavering. And you're short-sighted, I replied calmly. Remember, I'm watching. Every move counts. I hung up and turned to Ria. See, they think they control the narrative, but I control them. Fear is stronger than loyalty, and greed blinds them to reality. She exhaled slowly. Just don't become like them, sir. Don't let this taste of power make you cruel. I leaned back in my chair, letting her words sink in. I won't, but I will reclaim what's mine, carefully, quietly, completely. By midday, I returned to my office to find my old desk cleared out. I picked up my keys, turning them in my hand. Feels right, I muttered. These keys, this office, it's not just space, it's control, memories, power. I called another ally, Priya. Send me everything you can on board members' recent deals. Let's see where they're vulnerable financially, discreetly, of course. Yes, sir, I'll get it immediately. I hung up, eyes narrowing. Every weak link will be exposed, every misstep counted. They'll panic, but they won't know why until it's too late. Ria watched me quietly. Sir, do you ever worry about crossing a line? That line between justice and obsession, I sighed. Sometimes. But I've been humiliated, betrayed, erased. I can't worry about lines. I worry about outcomes. Every decision now must serve the plan. I opened my laptop and glanced at Aditya's latest social media post. He grinned, talking about new strategies, new initiatives. Naive little fool, I muttered. He doesn't realize I'm already 3 moves ahead. Let him dance in the spotlight while I take control from the shadows. By evening, reports of confusion in the company reached my inbox. Emails from panicked managers, hurried memos, subtle hints of disagreement among board members. My chest tightened with anticipation. "They're unraveling," I whispered, exactly as I hoped. Ria placed a hand on my shoulder. "Be careful, sir. The more they panic, the more they'll suspect something. Don't let them see you smile too much." "I'm not smiling," I said, though a smirk threatened. "I'm observing, learning, and preparing my next move." Every piece falls into place, slowly, inevitably. I returned to my files, reviewing my notes, checking my investments, calling discreet contacts. The thrill of progress coursed through me, but beneath it was that familiar moral hesitation. The voice that reminded me to stay precise, not reckless. Finally, I leaned back and whispered to myself, voice cold but steady, "This is only the beginning. Every panic, every slip, every weakness, I will use it. And when it's done, they'll realize too late who was truly in control." I watched from my apartment as the chaos I had orchestrated began to bloom. Emails, leaked reports, financial rumors, it was all reaching the board like a creeping storm. My phone buzzed with a message from Anand. "Sir, board members are panicking. Everything you predicted is happening." I smiled faintly. "Exactly as planned," I whispered to myself. Ria appeared, leaning on the doorframe. "Sure. Seeing them unravel like this, doesn't it feel satisfying?" I shook my head, rubbing my temple. "Satisfying, yes, but there's a line, Ria. I don't want to cross it. I want them to feel the consequences, not humiliation for the sake of it." She nodded. "Good. Don't lose yourself to this." I opened my laptop and scanned the latest internal memos. One of the board members, Sharma, had made a reckless investment overnight. Another, Mehta, had been caught sending misleading numbers to shareholders. Panic was setting in, and their alliances were fracturing. I called Priya, one of my old allies. "Priya, updates, they're panicking, sir. Aditya doesn't know how to handle it. He's asking the board for guidance, but nobody trusts him. Your moves have made him look weak." I leaned back, letting a quiet laugh escape. "Weak? He's clueless. I planted the seeds, but he watered the weeds himself. Fear and indecision. That's all he has left, sir." "They're starting to talk about you again," Priya continued. "Board members are whispering, wondering if you're behind some of this." I tapped my finger on the desk. "Let them wonder. Let them fear. That's their weakness. Fear makes them desperate. Desperation makes them predictable." I ended the call and dialed Anand. "Anand, check Aditya's public statements. Anything unusual?" "Yes, sir. He's flustered. Social media comments, interviews. He's making contradictory claims, trying to reassure investors, but it's only making them more nervous." "Perfect," I said. "Let him stumble. Let him show everyone he's unfit." Ria frowned. "Sir, do you feel any regret about how far you've gone?" I paused, staring at the city lights outside. "Regret? Not yet. I've been humiliated, betrayed. What they feel now, it's just reflection of what I endured. But I'm different now. Calculated, patient. This isn't blind revenge, it's strategy." She stepped closer. "You've changed." I nodded. "I have. And I need to stay that way. If I lose patience, if I act out of anger, I ruin everything. Control is everything." I checked the newsfeed. Headlines subtly shifted. Corporate mismanagement causes investor panic, board scrambles amid financial discrepancies. My work was visible, but my involvement invisible. Ria leaned over my shoulder. "They have no idea, do they?" "No idea," I said, smiling faintly. "And that's the beauty of it. Karma doesn't need recognition. It needs impact." I received a call from one of my former colleagues. "I have to admit, sir, this is impressive. You've taken control even while being out of the office. Nobody saw this coming." I let the compliment hang. "Thank you. But the work is just beginning. They underestimate me because they think I'm finished. That's their mistake." A sudden notification popped up. Aditya had posted a video online, nervously discussing investor confidence and upcoming projects. His hands shook visibly. "Ria, look at him," I muttered. "The facade is cracking. That fake smile. It's all gone." She watched silently. "You've done this without them realizing, sir." "Truly masterful," I sighed. "Mastery. Yes, but it feels empty too. The thrill is there, but revenge, it can't consume me. I need to remember why I'm doing this, not for joy, but for justice, for reclamation." I called Anand again. Keep tracking the board members' moves. I want everything: their meetings, calls, transactions. I need to know their fear levels. Yes, sir, Anand replied. It's all coming apart. Your influence is untouchable right now. Good, I said. Let them crumble slowly. Let them make mistakes, show their weakness. I'll stay patient. Controlled. Rhea touched my arm. Sir, what will you do when it's over? When the board has fallen and Aditya is exposed, I looked out the window, voice low. Then I reclaimed my company, silently, completely. I don't need to gloat. Let them feel regret. But not humiliation. I'll rebuild. Stronger, smarter. This is the last lesson they'll ever teach me. Hours passed. I watched as small messages, rumors, and reports traveled through the company. Board members argued in hushed tones. Investors panicked. Aditya's nervous video had already circulated internally, causing more doubt than reassurance. I leaned back, letting the night absorb me. Everything is unfolding exactly as it should, I murmured. They laughed at me. They mocked me. They thought I was finished. But karma is patient, and I am too. Rhea smiled faintly, placing a reassuring hand on my shoulder. Sir, you've turned despair into power. I've never seen anything like it. I nodded. Eyes narrowing. Power, yes, but measured, controlled. I've learned patience, strategy, restraint. This isn't just revenge, it's a lesson for everyone who doubted me. I opened the final report for the night, scanning the board's financial vulnerabilities and Aditya's recent missteps. Tomorrow, the next phase begins. But tonight, I let them tremble. That's enough for now, I whispered. To myself, a quiet, cold resolve echoing in the room. They thought they destroyed me. But I watched, I waited. And soon, they'll understand who was truly untouchable all along. I walked into the boardroom like I owned the place. Technically, I did now, but it wasn't just the papers or the shares that gave me power. It was knowledge, patience, and every move they thought went unnoticed. Good morning, I said. My voice calm but sharp. Every eye turned to me. Shock, fear, confusion. The chairwoman's hand trembled slightly. We weren't expecting you, sir. I let a small, deliberate smile creep onto my face. Not expecting me, that's odd. After all, I'm the one who actually controls this company now. A collective gasp filled the room. Sharma's face turned red, his voice shaking. You, what do you mean? This is impossible. We voted you out. Yes, I said, letting the word linger. You voted me out. And I watched. I waited. I learned. And now, I own every major share. Every board member who thought they could control the company without me. They were wrong. Rhea stood behind me, quiet support. I didn't need her to speak, my presence was enough to command attention. Aditya froze, his confident grin from previous weeks gone. I don't understand. How, I interrupted, stepping closer. Voice low but cutting. How? Could you think you could replace me with someone inexperienced, naive, and completely unprepared? You smiled, cheered, and called it progress. You called it vision, he stammered. I was just following the board's decisions. You didn't what? I asked, voice rising. You didn't consider the people who built this company, the trust I placed in all of you, the loyalty I expected. You betrayed me. Every single one of you. The room went silent. Even the most confident board members couldn't hide the fear. Sir, Sharma began, voice trembling. We didn't realize. You thought you could control me, I said coldly. You thought I was powerless, humiliated, done. You were wrong. And the irony. I paused, letting them feel it. The higher you all rose on my downfall, the more vulnerable you became. Karma has a slow but precise hand. Rhea leaned forward slightly. Sir, don't hold back now. Let them understand fully. I nodded subtly, then turned to the chairwoman. And you, pretending to be fair, smiling in my face while scheming behind it. Do you know what that feels like? To see everyone you trusted plotting against you while you're blind to it. Her lips pressed together. You lied. You manipulated. You sold my vision for comfort and profit. And now, look at you. I gestured to the room. The company teeters because of decisions you made in my absence. Investor confidence shaken. Internal panic. And yet you still try to justify your betrayal. Aditya's voice cracked. Please. You didn't think, didn't plan, didn't even notice the cracks forming under your own feet, I said. And now, you're exposed. Every move you made to appear competent has been undone. Your credibility gone, your influence erased, all because you didn't consider consequences. Sharma whispered under his breath. We never thought you'd, exactly, I said, cutting him off. You never thought, that's the fatal mistake. Every one of you relied on fear. Loyalty to position, or selfishness, but I waited. I watched. I used your weaknesses against you. A hand raised Meta, trembling. You can't just take it like this. We have influence, allies. I shook my head slowly. Influence built on lies, greed, and betrayal. That's fragile. My control is silent but absolute. Every shareholder, every investor, every department aligned. Your power depended on my absence. That absence ended. Aditya's face turned pale. Sir, please. I didn't. I stepped closer. Voice dropping so the room leaned in. You didn't think because you had no vision. You were chosen because the board wanted a puppet, and you played the part perfectly. But a puppet cannot lead. A puppet cannot sustain a legacy, and now, I let the silence stretch. You watch as that puppet empire crumbles. The chairwoman's hands shook. You could have. We could have saved yourselves. I asked, voice steady, measured. No, you chose this path. Every deceit, every smile, every whispered conspiracy led here. The consequences are yours. I paused, letting my words sink into the boardroom like stones thrown into still water. Their faces twisted with guilt, regret, anger, fear. Some tried to manipulate me again with excuses, with pleas. I ignored them. I had no need for theatrics or revenge in public. My reclamation was complete. Authority restored. Karma delivered. Aditya collapsed into a chair, pale and defeated. I thought I could do it. I didn't realize you never realized because you never deserved it, I said. And now you understand. Not because I humiliated you publicly. Not because I yelled or shamed you, but because the truth is undeniable. Weakness cannot hide forever. Ria's hand brushed mine lightly. Sir, you've transformed. They finally see it. I looked around the room. Every betrayal accounted for, every flaw exposed, every secret vulnerability leveraged. And yet, I didn't feel the hollow satisfaction I thought I would. Instead, there was calm, control, precision. I've regained what was mine, I said quietly, voice firm. But more importantly, I've changed. Patience, strategy, restraint. These are my weapons now. Not anger, not revenge. Just inevitable justice. The board was silent, broken, bitter, some with regret, some with resentment. But none had power, none could challenge me. I stood, tall, transformed, untouchable in the calm of my victory. Aditya looked up, desperate. Sir, what will you do with us? I considered the question, voice steady, measured. You will remain as witnesses. Let this be a lesson. And then, let the company thrive without the shadows of betrayal. That's all. I turned to Ria, and she nodded. My world had shifted. I had endured betrayal, humiliation, and despair, but I emerged stronger, in control. And as I looked around at the broken faces, I whispered to myself, barely audible, this is only the beginning. But now, I decide everything. I sat at my reclaimed desk, the city lights filtering through the blinds, casting thin lines across the polished wood. The keys felt heavier tonight, but in a different way. Power no longer burned like anger, it settled like quiet certainty. Ria leaned against the doorframe, arms folded. You look different, sir. Calm, in control. I let out a slow breath. Calm, yes, in control. Maybe, but it wasn't easy getting here. Every move, every plan, it took pieces of me I didn't know I had. She stepped closer, voice gentle. You mean, the revenge, the strategy, the waiting, all of it? I said, tapping the desk. I realized something, Ria. I thought reclaiming the company would fill the void, but the real change happened inside me. Patience, restraint, observation. I learned to see people, to see myself. Ria smiled faintly. You're wiser now, not just powerful. I hope so, I murmured. I never wanted to become the same type of person who betrayed me. The difference is, I let them feel consequences, yes, but I didn't destroy them out of spite. I gave justice, not malice. There was a knock at the door. Mr. Kapoor stepped in, eyes sharp but approving. I heard congratulations are in order, he said, tone dry but warm. I chuckled softly. I suppose you could say that. You did more than reclaim the company, he said. Walking closer, you reclaimed yourself. Many would have lost everything to bitterness, anger. You turned it into strategy, foresight. That's rare. I had guidance, I admitted. And failure teaches more than success ever could. Betrayal, humiliation, despair, they were painful, but necessary. He nodded. Pain has a way of refining people. You've proven that, but remember, power is measured not only in control, but in how you wield it. So far, you've shown restraint. Keep it that way. I intend to, I said firmly. Control without wisdom is just arrogance, and I won't make that mistake. Rhea interjected softly. Sir, do you ever regret it? The way you manipulated the board. Nate Aditya faltered. I thought for a moment, tracing a finger along the edge of my desk. Regret? No. Every move was calculated, necessary, but I am aware of the toll it took on me emotionally. I learned how fragile trust is, how betrayal cuts deeper than any financial loss. I learned to value loyalty and to fear complacency. She nodded. And yet, you still seem at peace. I smiled faintly. At peace, yes, not unscarred. Scars remain, and they will always remind me of the lessons learned. But peace comes from knowing I acted deliberately, without letting rage or vanity dictate my actions. Later, I received a call from one of my former allies who had briefly doubted me. I must admit, sir, I never imagined you'd pull this off. Every step, flawless. I underestimated you. I let out a quiet laugh. Thank you, but remember, confidence without patience is dangerous. You underestimated patience, timing, observation. Yes, he admitted. And you've changed, too. Not just in power, but in perspective. I hope so, I said. Victory is hollow without understanding why it matters. I wanted more than control, I wanted clarity. I wanted to know I could navigate betrayal without losing myself. The city lights reflected off the glass walls as I stood and walked slowly through the office, running my fingers over each reclaimed corner, each desk, each chair, each framed certificate, a reminder of the past, and a marker of my transformation. Rhea followed silently. This, walking through it, like this, it's symbolic, isn't it? I nodded. It is. Every step reminds me of how far I've come. From despair to revenge to understanding. From being a pawn in my own company to standing as its master, but tempered, not reckless. She smiled softly. You've become more than I imagined, sir. Strong, wise, resilient. I looked out at the skyline, voice quiet. I've learned that power is temporary, trust is fragile, and loyalty is priceless. And most importantly, I've learned to survive without letting pain dictate who I become. That's the real victory. A message popped up on my phone from Aditya, short and broken. I understand. I was wrong. I didn't know. I stared at it briefly, then set it aside. He's learned his lesson, just as the others will. I don't need to punish them further. Justice, once felt, is enough. Rhea touched my shoulder. Sir, do you feel fulfilled? I exhaled, letting the tension slip from my shoulders. Fulfilled. Maybe, not entirely, but ready to lead wisely, decisively, and cautiously. Ready to rebuild, innovate, and protect what I've reclaimed. Mr. Kapoor's voice echoed softly. You've turned tragedy into triumph, betrayal into insight. Remember this feeling, it will guide you through challenges to come. I nodded, turning to face both Rhea and him. I will. And I'll never forget the lessons learned. Patience, observation, restraint, and trust earned. Never given freely. That's how I moved forward. The office was quiet, the hum of the city below a soft backdrop. I walked back to my desk, picked up my keys, and held them in my hand. The metal was warm under my fingers. A small smile curved my lips. This office, I whispered to myself, is more than a workspace. It's a symbol of survival, of lessons learned, of rebirth, and I will lead with wisdom, not vengeance. Rhea smiled softly as I finally sat down. Welcome back, sir. Fully. Not just to the company, but to yourself. I nodded, letting the weight of those words sink in. For the first time in months, I felt whole. Scarred, yes, but whole. And as I looked out the window one last time that night, I whispered quietly, I survived betrayal. I endured despair. I reclaimed what was mine. And now, I move forward, stronger, wiser, And unstoppable.chp.8. I stood by the window of my office, watching the first rays of sunlight touch the city. The office felt different now, not just reclaimed, but renewed. The weight of past betrayals had lifted, replaced by clarity and purpose. A soft knock came at the door. "Sir," I turned to see a young executive, eager but composed. "I'm sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to say, congratulations. Your leadership, it's inspiring." I smiled faintly. "Thank you. But inspiration comes from lessons learned, not titles. And every lesson came at a cost." She hesitated, then spoke again. "I'd like to work with you, learn from you. Not just the company, but how you navigate challenges, strategy, decisions." I nodded slowly. "I see. You're ambitious and cautious. That combination can take you far. Are you ready to handle both success and failure?" She nodded confidently. "I am, sir. And I want to contribute meaningfully. Not just climb, but create impact." "Good," I said, letting a hint of warmth enter my tone. "I can teach. I can guide. But remember, growth isn't measured by how many steps you take forward, but how you respond when you're pushed back." She smiled. "I understand. And I appreciate the opportunity." I turned back to the window, letting the sunlight wash over my face. "I've learned that life is never fair," I whispered, more to myself than to her. "People betray. Circumstances change, fortunes rise and fall, but how we respond, that defines everything." Ria walked in quietly, carrying 2 cups of coffee. She placed one on my desk. "The city looks different in the morning," she said softly. I took the cup, savoring the warmth. "It does. And so do I, stronger, wiser, rebuilt not just the company, but myself." She smiled, sensing the shift in me. "You've come a long way, sir. From despair to control, from betrayal to mastery. But have you forgiven yourself?" I paused, letting the question linger. Forgiveness isn't about forgetting mistakes or pain. It's about understanding them, learning, and choosing not to let them define me. I've forgiven myself for being naive, for trusting blindly, for underestimating my own resilience. Ria nodded. "And the past tormentors, the board, Aditya," I let out a quiet laugh. "They're shadows now. Lessons, not obstacles. They exist only in memory, reminders of what I endured and overcame." The young executive glanced between. "U.S. Sir, does this mean the company is stable, or are there still challenges ahead?" I smiled faintly. "Challenges will always exist. That's life. But now I meet them with experience, not fear. Strategy, patience, and wisdom guide me. I'm prepared. And anyone willing to learn, willing to contribute, can join in shaping the future." The executive's eyes lit up. "Then, we'll do great things together, sir." "I hope so," I said quietly, feeling a rare calm wash over me. "But remember, the measure of success isn't just profit or influence. It's integrity, foresight, and the ability to rise after being cast down." Rio leaned closer, voice soft. "And you, are you finally at peace?" I stared out at the city again, the sunlight reflecting in the glass towers. "At peace, yes. Not without memory, not without scars, but balanced. Ambition tempered by wisdom, revenge tempered by restraint, pain transformed into strength." She smiled, sensing the truth in my words. "You've truly been reborn, sir." I nodded, feeling the weight of months of struggle settle into clarity. "Reborn. Yes. And the dawn is just beginning. There's much to do, many people to guide, many decisions to make. But now, I control my path, and for the first time, it feels limitless." The young executive stepped forward, hopeful. "Sir, may I ask one thing?" "Of course," I said, voice steady. "Will you trust us, guide us, even if we make mistakes?" I smiled, handing her a folder with new plans. "I will, because trust is earned. But when given wisely, it builds more than fear or obedience ever could. Lead with ambition, yes, but remember patience, observation, and restraint. That's how we grow."